All right.
Time alone. When I am perfectly willing to give her everything she needs. I don't care about her past. I don't care what she's been through. I just wanna feel one night with good love, baby. That's all I wanna do. So baby, if you got that feeling, well, I wanna give you that midnight healing. You know what I'm talking about, yeah. Just turn the lights down low. Come right on over here to me. I know you don't want no commitments, baby. I just wanna set your body free. And I don't care what's going on in the night outside my door. I just wanna get your head right, baby. Give you all the love I got for sure. So baby, if you've got that feeling, you know I wanna give you that midnight healing. Oh, I just wanna make love to you all night long. Midnight healing, baby. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
Default. How did that switch? Oh, updates. Oh, every single time. Updates. Updates like to play games. All right, hang on a second, y'all. Hang on. Let me make sure audio's working here. I updated the program. And Let's see. Check. Haha. All right. Yeah, so we didn't have all this experience at failing for 8 years. This be a serious situation right now. But because we've had so many interesting. Thank you, Big Money. I see it. Yeah, audio should be fixed. Everybody should be good. Okay. Let me check the time. 9:07. Let's get started. Welcome to a wet Monday night in New York. It is pouring out there. Well, it's supposed to be. Came down pretty hard. First time thunderstorms for the new year. Yeah, the new year. Anyways, tonight's guest. You guys have. This guest has made an appearance before. He has actually joined the HOP, one of the community shows, FCW. So you guys had a chance to meet him, Scott, or better known as MetalHeaD Esquire on X. But without further ado, let's bring him up. I don't want to take too much time. I want to get started. There we go. Okay. All right. Hang on, guys. Hang on. Wait, Scott. Hang on 1 second. Okay. Scott, you're everywhere. Say hello to everybody.
Hello to everybody.
All right.
It's terrifying. I'm everywhere. Jeez.
What's up, guys? I see you guys on Facebook. What's happening? What's up? What's up, Big Missouri, Big Money, everybody active. All right, Scott, welcome back to the show. Welcome back to HOP, man.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're one of the you FCW guys. Let me tell you, you guys do not disappoint when it comes to shows. Every single one of you guys puts on a great show. Okay, so
no pressure at all. No pressure at all.
I'm telling you, it's true when they say birds of a feather flock together. Yeah, it's like minds attract like minds. Manifestation. Okay.
Right.
Where do I want to start? I want to start the same place where we started last time, which is why don't you give a brief introduction of yourself, introduce yourself, maybe talk a little bit about who you are, and then we'll get started from there.
Sure. Yeah. So I am. Let's see. I'm a Jersey native, transplanted to New York. Grew up in New Jersey. Went to college down in DC, and came back up home, go to law school, and ended up working and living in New York. And was a Manhattanite for about 10 years, and moved out to the suburbs for various job reasons and kid reasons and all that stuff. And so now I'm kind of living the suburban dad life, about 45 minutes north of the city, and lawyer by day and artist, I guess, by night, because that's kind of the only time I really have time to do art stuff. What else can I tell you? MetalHeaD. That's my alter ego, but it's not really an alter ego. It's just kind of who I am and have been since I was, 13, 14 years old. I got into, punk rock and, classic rock when I was in middle school, which spiraled into a much darker place over the next, 10 years or so, and it's just continued to go from there. And that's just part of who I am. I'm a music guy. I'm an art guy. And so that's how I kind of ended up in this, this area of practicing law. I work with a lot of artists and do a lot of stuff in the creative spaces. So I was always kind of in that creative space, and so wanted to do something for a living in that area, and then for various reasons ended up doing the lawyer thing. So true Gemini, I like to think. You got the putting on a suit and going to court, and then this is just kind of my daily attire, my secret identity.
Okay. Here's let's see. Do we want to go back to the beginning? Art. Has it been prevalent throughout your entire life, or did it come on heavy right now? Or so what I'm asking is, like I do with everybody, let's go back to the beginning. Were you an artist? Was there any art prevalent as a kid? Surrounded by art? I mean, what was the family life? Was anybody involved in art, or was it just something that kind of, yeah? Was there any existence of art as a child? Is what I'm asking.
Yeah, there was. So I always was interested in art, and I think I had, you know, a knack for certain things as a kid. And so my mom was a pretty talented artist. I've got, you know, we've got some paintings and stuff that she did around the house, and she was very good at drawing. And as a kid, I would draw a lot. I had these all kinds of different drawing pads and different types of paper, and I would copy from comic books. I collected comics as a kid, like a lot of us did, and probably still do. I would draw Spider-Man and the X-Men and Spawn and all, you know, all the especially the bad guys. Man, they were so much more fun to draw. And so my mom was the artistic one. My dad's an engineer, so he was very much kind of like science and math, and my mom was a teacher for a time, and she was the artist, and so whenever I had a problem with something, she would always help me if I made a mistake, or, you know, she'd try to teach me how to do things. So yeah, that's the very short version of that is yes. I was always very into the art classes in school. I was in kind of the advanced, I guess you can call them like gifted and talented art as a kid, in, like, you know, elementary school and middle school. I think once I hit high school, I started doing a lot of other things with music and, you know, a little bit of sports here and there, and I lost the thread a little bit. And a lot of people who I grew up with were really talented. I mean, like, fantastic artists. And at that point, I think I kind of got a complex where I was like, well, I'm not that amazing, and so it stalled a little bit. I still took classes in high school, and but I lost the consistency of practice, probably, you know, going into high school, and I missed that. And so I still have a little bit of it. I can still draw a little bit, but certainly not as well as I used to. And, you know, I'd paint and do all kinds of other things, whatever was the theme of the day in school. But yeah, really focused on art and music. I played saxophone as a kid. I picked up bass when I was in high school, and so I've played bass since. I consistently played bass since then. So very kind of, you know, creativity focused, you know, when I can, and it was encouraged. My, you know, parents were supportive of it. I just didn't end up going into it for you know, pursuing it for a career for various reasons. But and the resurgence came about, I think, when I started getting into Web3 and really seeing what you could do with digital art, and that really kind of brought the passion back, and I figured out kind of a whole new, you know, style, and now I've been doing it almost every day for the past couple of years.
That's what I was trying to I was trying to ask like 7 questions in one question before. Okay. So I have a couple of I'm curious questions. Yeah. I'm curious, where in Jersey did you grow up?
Livingston.
Okay. Were you ever a fan of the Jersey beaches at all, or? Yeah,
we went. So my parents were from the Boston area, so we used to go up there all the time, and we'd go to Cape Cod, and so we did you know, those kind of things for vacation a lot. We didn't really go to the Jersey Shore much, but I did with friends when we got old enough to go down there by ourselves. When we got our driver's license, a good one of my closest friends, one of my oldest friends, still has the same house down there in Belmar. And we used to go there. It was right a block away from the beach, hang out in Belmar, Seaside Heights. That was a big part of my, I'd say, I don't know, like ages 16 to 22. You know, we'd all come back and we would still go down there over the summer, and you know, when we were in college and stuff. And so yeah, Jersey, good Jersey Shore memories.
So I used to I used to do a little airbrushing on the Wildwood boardwalk with I would have to go back to find the particular place, but if you are ever on any of the boardwalks, they always had the airbrushing booths.
Yep.
Yeah, so I was a big airbrusher, 16, 17, 18, and my family always used to bring us down to the Jersey Shore, either Wildwood or Cape May. Is it Cape May? I think
Cape
it's
May.
Cape
Yeah,
May.
Cape May is all the way down. Yep.
So yeah, it was yeah, like you said, really good Jersey Shore memories, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't feel like home. It felt like vacation time,
Yeah.
especially with that boardwalk smell.
Oh man, you can't replicate that. That's
Yeah, you know when you just know it. You know when you're pulling into the beach and you smell. I mean, I could pick up the falafels for that's the first thing. The not falafels. What are they
funnel
called?
cake.
Yes, thank you.
Yep.
It was my
The
parents'
first thing.
favorite was the funnel cakes.
Yep. Yeah. If and for the people who aren't Jersey natives, or maybe it goes by a different name other places, it's basically fried dough with powdered sugar on it. It's oh man, it's so good.
With the option of fruit and some ice cream and whipped
Yep.
cream and yeah.
Chocolate. Yep.
So yeah, you just know the Jersey Shore people when they start talking because everybody has that same great experience on the boardwalk.
Yep.
Now my other curious question: it's a Westchester
Yeah.
somewhere? Okay. All right. Where do I want to go from here? Okay, so the music, anything there that's something that we want to talk about, and also was it just drawing, painting, or anything else involved when younger, and then any art classes, and then yeah, I give you to hit you with like 3 different questions, but
Yeah. I took some classes that there were. I remember there were some kind of after school type things, but a lot of it was in school. Um, uh, there were some kind of elective type classes I could take, and then I remember in middle school I went like early in the morning on a couple, 1 or 2 days a week in middle school to do this like extra art class, and yeah, there was painting, there was sculpture, pottery. I remember this one project. It was the craziest thing. We made these elaborate sculptures out of toothpicks. I had like a wood base and a dowel or some long wood piece, and then we had other things. I don't know what it was made of, but it was like you could wrap it around like in a spiral, and then you glued the toothpicks in these patterns like all the way around. So it was like a DNA helix of toothpicks. And it was like the craziest thing. And it was displayed in our living room for years. Like this thing made of toothpicks, because it was like, it was just such like a big accomplishment, at least. It was a very cool piece. Let's see. I didn't take like private art lessons or anything like that. A lot of it was just drawing at home, just teaching myself. The music stuff came a little later. I was like mediocre at saxophone. I think I originally wanted to be a drummer, and I changed my mind at the last minute and ended up taking saxophone. And I kind of look back and I'm like, man, would I have been the next Neil Peart or something like that. But whatever. Yeah, I dropped that after 8th grade and ended up, when I was in high school, picking up bass. Guitar lessons didn't really stick. I took a couple here and there, and then my friends wanted to, we all wanted to be in a band, and everybody wanted to be the guitarist, of course. But I remember we were in my friend's basement, and one guy brought his brother's bass with him. And I saw him playing it kind of, just with fingers instead of the pick. I was like, man, that actually looks really cool. And it also only has 4 strings, so I don't have to learn how to play chords. So that's also really cool. And so I just decided to pick that up and just taught myself, and I've been playing since I was 17 or 18 years old. And so that ended up becoming my weapon of choice.
Do you so here, this is an interesting question, right? Do you can you still play sax?
So it's funny. I've thought about that, and I think the answer is yes. And I haven't tried because I have my saxophone. It's literally in my basement right now. And I took it out of the case once to test this theory. And I don't know if you've ever like played around with a saxophone or any kind of brass or woodwind instrument that has like the keys and stuff. They were all basically like dead fish. There was no tension left in them, and like everything was kind of lopsided. It is completely broken. I've probably just from sitting there for 30 years or whatever. So I would need to get it revamped, but I know the positions of all the keys and what notes they represent, and I can read sheet music for saxophone. So if you gave me a working saxophone and some relatively simple sheet music, I have the muscle memory that I could still play it. I wouldn't be very good, but I think I could still do it.
Okay. Well, it's still, it sounds like it's not only does it sound like it's still in you, but it sounds like you have actually pondered it. You haven't played since way back then?
Must have been 8th grade last time I played.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. But you play bass, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. 18. I'm gonna assume that was what, end of high school? Yeah. I would imagine that a choice of college. How did that whole thing work out as far as which direction you were, planning on going?
Hey, it was a weird process because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I wanted to go away, but not that far. And at that point, I didn't want to really be in a city, but I also didn't want to be in the middle of nowhere. So I ended up, so I went to American University in DC. It's like right on the outskirts of DC. And so it was a nice kind of small contained campus that was adjacent to the city, like super easy to get into DC, but it wasn't in the middle of the city. So it was a kind of a good, happy medium. It was just odd because I had no interest in politics or political science or international affairs or anything like that, and ended up going to, go to DC if you want to be
the most
like
political area there is.
Yep. And so I ended up majoring in journalism. I was when journalism, I guess, was still a thing and a profession to be studied. Still is to some degree. I think there's still journalists out there, but everybody with a social media account is, I think, considers themselves a journalist to some degree. So it's
you ain't fooling.
Yep. But so what's interesting, it was print journalism. It's very, very specific. There was a broadcast journalism major and a print journalism major, and I did print journalism. And I liked it because I liked writing, and but I just didn't have the same passion for it as a lot of the people in the paper did. So I was the music editor of the paper for a couple of years, the student run paper, and I just didn't have the same like love for it. I liked the writing, but I didn't like really have any interest in being, there when it was printing time and, staying up late. So I had to take a law class, a communications law class to complete my major. And that's kind of when I took that class, I was like, that's when the light bulb went out. I was like, okay, I can bring these things together. The journalism, the writing, and the legal analysis part of it really caught me. And so I was like, oh, okay, there's my answer for what I'm going to do. And so that was the class that kind of, turned things around.
So now I'm really curious. What was it? What happened in that semester that pointed, like, what was it that caught you to the point where you knew, like, all right, I'm going to take my life in this direction? I mean, it's a pretty big decision, and you seem pretty sure about it when you say, like, now I know. So I'm like, what I'm still trying to figure out that question. So I'm go ahead.
Well, the professor was fantastic. And so that was a huge factor, and how she taught the way to kind of do legal analysis and thinking. And but I remember, I think, having this realization when we were doing a unit on defamation, and learning the difference between libel and slander, and like what are the things you have to prove to show that you were defamed in a certain way. And it was laid out like, well, you've got a test, and the test has these elements, and you have to fit the facts into each element to try to show that you can prove this claim. And it was something about that analysis that really grabbed me. And I did really well in the class. And so that kind of helped, boost my confidence that this was something that I might be good at. But it was just, to me, it was almost like it was like solving a puzzle. And so it was,
I was going to ask you if you're into puzzles. Go ahead. Yeah.
It's so weirdly enough, not really. My wife and I'll do, like puzzles sometimes, like jigsaw puzzles, but the test to get into law school had logic puzzles on it. This is like notoriously the section that many people had dread about, including me. And I did not do well on those. I just couldn't get them. And yet this is the style of thinking that I wanted to get into. I don't know, something about those logic games that just did not sit in my brain well. I just couldn't do them. But I was convinced that this is a standardized test. It's not a predictor of what I'm going to do. And so I ended up going to the school I wanted to go to and doing the stuff that I wanted to do. And so I think I did well, despite not doing as well as I wanted to on the standardized test. But it's funny. Puzzles are not a normal part of my day, strangely enough.
I was gonna it's funny because you're kind of like beating me to the all the things I wanted to say. I was gonna say that I would imagine as a lawyer, you have to have a very logical way of that was another one. I got so many. Out of curiosity, what engineering your father? Chemical. Wow. I don't hear that very often. Chemical.
Yeah.
I hear civil. I'm a mechanical.
Okay.
I did mechanical engineering, and that's kind of where logic really came into play. Engineering teaches you to think in a very logical manner. Parts, functions, stresses, all of that. But as I'm sitting here listening to you talk, I would imagine that for a lawyer, I was going to ask you, are you into debating people? But when I would imagine you have to have a very logical way of thinking, and not only thinking, but a presentation when it comes to displaying the facts, breaking everything down so that even the simplest of humans can understand. Maybe maybe that's the wrong word. What's the word I'm looking for? I guess the facts, the way you present the facts really matter. Is that, am I saying the right thing here?
Yeah, 100%. I think it's a different species of logic than the engineering logic. I don't know how to describe it. They say you go to law school so that they can teach you how to think like a lawyer, and that's very true. It's the legal analytic thinking is a different kind of thinking, and you really do leave with a different kind of mindset and way of seeing things. I can't really explain it other than saying that, but yes, you have to. There's a combination of skills, especially if you litigate. So I'm a litigator. If you're a transactional lawyer, somebody who does contracts, negotiates deals, a deal maker, more of a business lawyer. There is you need similar skills in order to convey concepts to clients if it's not a client who's like steeped in that business. But there's less theater to it. So being a litigator, there is some degree of performance involved. But to your point, you also have to perform in a way that the judge understands, because judges are not, they don't know every single area of the law. Like I do a lot of copyright litigation. Copyright is a complicated, gray, sometimes hyper technical area, and not all judges. It's all in federal court. Copyright's all in federal court, but even federal judges don't necessarily have experience in copyright cases. And if you have to explain something to a jury or an arbitrator or somebody who doesn't specialize in that area, you have to be able to teach them that. And so break it down simply, keep it simple, not overcomplicate things, and convey things clearly, but also in a persuasive way that advocates for your client. So there's like, a dozen different skills going on at any given time to try to do the best you can on behalf of whoever you're representing at that point. It's a lot.
I think a good way, I think a proper way of saying it is, I would imagine that you are an artist when it comes to painting a picture for people to understand, and you have to be good at it, because if they don't understand it, then I would imagine you're going to have lots of difficulties on the outcome of the cases. I don't know if that's the right way of saying it, but
no, there's truth to that, because you have to tell a story. Even the kind of most basic breach of contract case between two businesses, there's a story there. There are people involved. There are negotiations. There are motivations on both sides, and you have to make a compelling story, especially if it's the kind of situation where somebody might be like, oh God, contracts, like snooze. So you have to make it not entertaining. I mean, this stuff's not meant to be entertaining, but like, you have to paint that picture and do so in a way that doesn't overstep, right? Because if you're too flowery and if you're too dramatic about it, then the judge is just going to roll her eyes and be like, come on, like, just get to the point. So it's a constant balancing act, and sometimes you say things that annoy a judge or annoy an arbitrator, and the next time you're in front of that person, like, can't do that anymore. I was before one judge who reprimanded one of the parties for one of the lawyers for using too many adverbs. Obviously, clearly, shockingly. He basically was like, if it ends in ly, don't use it, like in papers that you file in my court. So I was like, mental note. So no adverbs for this judge.
Okay, so let's roll back a little, right? First class, and then decide to go in that direction. Now, for the rest of college, I'm going to imagine. Now, did you know exactly what direction you were headed in right away, or is that something that developed over time? And then maybe you want to talk a little bit about the evolution of you as that part, meaning school, work, and then I want to let you tell the story.
So I thought I knew what I wanted to do, or I did know and had a particular direction I was going to go in, and then what's the saying? You make plans and God laughs.
Life is what happens when you're trying to get something done. Right?
Exactly.
Is that yeah?
So that's kind of what happened. I went to law school. So after taking this class, learning about communications and libel and privacy and some intellectual property and things like that. And the decision that I made was, okay, I can combine all those things together, but what I really want to do with it is be in the music industry and be a music industry deal lawyer. Like, because this was I graduated college in 2004. So my freshman year of college was like Napster heyday. And so in my mind, this was the next frontier in anything having to do with the law in when it pertained to music. And so I was going to do something related to that and be kind of on the front lines of where the music industry was going. So I read a whole bunch of books on the music industry and copyright law and music, which is unnecessarily complicated. And so I had a little bit of a base of knowledge before going to law school and taking the actual courses. So I went to law school. Like I mentioned, I didn't do as well on the standardized test as I had wished. And I had to take like 5 credits shy of a full course load the first year, because they were like, well, let's, kind of see how you do. And so I kind of got a little chip on my shoulder, and I was like, yeah, let's see how I do. And so fast forward to the end of law school, I graduated first in the class. I was ranked first in the class every semester for 3 years that I was there. And after the first year of law school, they said, all right, well, make up, if you want to make up the credits, the 5 credits over the summer, you'll still graduate on time. So that's what I did. But that having that kind of level of, grades and whatever at a smaller school, I went to Seton Hall for law school, so back to Jersey, and I loved it. Like, I loved law school. Like, most people, you will not hear that from. Most lawyers did not enjoy it, or I loved it. I thought it was great, and I had a wonderful experience there. And when you go to a smaller school, especially in the New York metropolitan area, that's not NYU or Columbia or whatever, the opportunities to go to like big firms or work for a federal judge or whatever are just harder to get. That's just the reality of it. And so I was encouraged to take advantage of the fact that I had the standing to be able to do certain things that maybe not everybody would have had the chance to do. And I ended up interning for a federal judge after my first year. I really liked it. I decided I wanted to clerk, to work for a judge after I graduated. And then I ended up getting a summer job my second year at a large New York law firm, and they're doing most of my work in their entertainment group. And so the opportunities just took me in a different direction. Clerking for judges and going to big firms like that, it was steering me into a litigation direction as opposed to a transactional, like, deal making direction. And I did some transactional work when I was at this big firm, and I just found that I didn't like it as much as the litigation work. And so I ended up going kind of full litigation route instead of the music deal maker that I thought I was going to be. I ended up doing litigation, and I worked for 2 different federal judges, two of the best years professionally that I've ever had. I mean, just irreplaceable experience. Going to a big firm for 4 years, getting fantastic experience there, and then moving on to a boutique to do the stuff that I, focusing on the entertainment and art and media stuff that I really wanted to do, but from a litigation angle as opposed to a transactional angle. Not at all what I planned on. It's just, like I said, it's you think you're gonna end up here and you just end up over there, and that's just how it works out.
Can I ask you real quick to explain what litigation is?
Yeah, it's so funny. I live with this word day in and day out, and it almost never dawns on me that it is not really like a common word that people use. Going to court. When you sue people or you defend people in lawsuits, it's litigation. Like anything in going to court, involving going to court. And then there's some of it is like alternative dispute resolutions, arbitration, mediation. Arbitration is kind of like court, but before a private judge in a conference room instead of a courtroom. So yeah, fighting. lots of fighting. And you asked me before, do I like to debate with people? Only in working hours.
Okay.
I know and that is unusual for like somebody who's a litigator by profession. I don't debate for sport. And I know a lot of litigators who do. And it's like,
People love to argue, man.
they love to, even
Love
people
to.
but if I'm not working, like, I fight with people all day. I have no interest in fighting with people for fun. Like, that's just not it's not my idea of recreation.
I have a friend. Haven't talked to him in a bit, but he became a lawyer, and I remember him when we were very close friends. We were best friends for a time period in my life, and I remember him in the we used to argue about everything. Even if he was wrong, he'd still be arguing like he was right. And and you have to, right? You have to in certain cases. And I mean, you understand. But like now that I see the full picture of life, I'm like, man, perfect. Like this guy loved to argue all fucking day, all night, and now he argues for a living. But yeah. Okay. So why? Okay. I want to ask this. Why music? Like, what was the attraction with the music?
I'm not really sure where it started. Like, I know going in car trips with my family. Like I said, we used to go up to Boston, so that was like a solid 4 or 5 hour drive from New Jersey, and so the radio would always be on, and my parents listened to oldies and a little bit of classic rock here and there. They were the Beatles and Neil Diamond and the Beach Boys and that kind of stuff, and so that was all kind of my first exposure to pop, popular music, I guess. And then I discovered bands like so Green Day was like my first obsession band, right? Like Dookie came out in 1994, so I was 12. That was like I was like super fan in middle school, and I still love them. Like to this day, I love them. But that kind of little bit of pop punk, like, had a little bit of an edge. Kind of led me into things like I started listening to Kiss, and then Kiss led into Metallica and Megadeth, and Iron Maiden came later, and then it just spiraled from there. But there was something about the energy that.
What was your favorite Iron Maiden album?
Power Slave.
Okay, I think mine was, if I remember correctly, Aces High.
Aces High is the first track on Power Slave.
Is that okay? Mm-hmm. So then it's, oh wow, we like the same album. Was that the one with the pyramid on it?
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
Yep.
I am not. I liked. Hang on. This is crazy right now. I liked Metallica. I was always a Metallica fan. Used to work out to them a lot. Loved Motley Crue.
Mm-hmm.
Loved Motley Crue. I'm missing somebody in there, but there was a time when I did listen to Iron Maiden, and I remember that album. That was around the time when I think I discovered the Beastie Boys right around that time. Yeah. And the Beastie Boys knocked Iron Maiden right out. License to Ill, that thing never left. But I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just think it's crazy because I don't have that much knowledge of Iron Maiden. Yeah. I did airbrush. I think it was Puppet Master. Was that the name of the album? He had the
Number of the Beast.
Oh, is that okay? Okay, yeah, that's the one where he had the puppet. Yeah. And I loved I loved the drawing, the artwork. Was it Eddie? Was his name Eddie? Right?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Don't ask me how I remember this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is nuts because I wasn't like a huge Iron Maiden guy, but there was a time period where I did listen to some of the stuff, but I loved the artwork. There was one, I think it was an album where he was in a cockpit and the cockpit was all being shot out. Do I remember this correctly?
So that's Aces High. So that was
that's the song off of the.
Yeah, I don't know whether that was on an LP or a single, or it was definitely on a T-shirt.
Right. I remember the artwork so much that I was like, yeah, it's just a perfect example. If I didn't know anything about music, I picked the album with the cool artwork, right? And that's how I ended up listening to holy shit.
Maiden?
Thank you, Iron Maiden. And that's how I got into their stuff. There was another band. Yeah, it was cool artwork. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I was just it's my only thought, and I'm like, wow, that's go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
So it's funny. So this time you beat me to the point about the art. Is that I think sometimes it was the art. It was the cover art. I remember buying albums. I didn't know who the hell the band was, but the art was like freaking amazing. So I would that was a basis for buying some albums sometimes. But even Green Day, like the Green Day the album art on Dookie was way different from Iron Maiden album art. But like if you look really close, there were just funny details and like little Easter eggs here and there, on the cover and on the back and in the liner notes. And I mean, look, I liked them because their songs were impossibly catchy and the energy was awesome. And they were just so, at that time in the 90s, they had like the crazy different colored hair and their videos were wacky. And that really grabbed me. And so it was that combination of energy and music and art and all that. And then same thing with getting into metal it was the energy. It was that kind of release. And people think, oh, like metalheads are aggressive and angry and whatever. And like, no, we're actually like really in our happy place when we're listening to stuff that's aggressive.
Only in the pit.
Yeah, well, it's just funny. I always avoided the pit. I was like, you know what? I'm going to this show.
Me too.
Going to the show to watch the band, not to punch a dude in the face. Like I don't need to get kicked in the head and lose a tooth or whatever. Like no, I want to watch the band. Leave me the fuck alone. But it was also that kind of rebellious part of it. The countercultural taboo kind of stuff that really intrigued me, and it's like kind of scared me a little bit. Like I remember as a Megadeth was actually the first like real thrash band, like metal band that I got into. Like even before Metallica, Euthanasia was my first like metal album that I really 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 loved. And the cover art was it's wild. It's a woman hanging up babies on a clothesline, and the inside of it is so they have their mascot Vic Rattlehead with the bolted on sunglasses and the bars over his mouth, and it's him in like a Grim Reaper thing holding a baby, and it's all like not stuff that I wanted my parents to see, and that made it even more exciting. And same with White Zombie. Like I loved White Zombie, and that shit was scary for like I was 12 or 13 or whenever that album came out. Astro Creep 2000 was also one of my favorite albums. But the art still, like, in Rob Zombie did all that artwork, and it's just crazy and weird and disturbing, and so I think that really like reeled me in, and because I was not a rebellious kid, but I ended up being the kid in high school with the Metallica shirt and the chain wallet, and still getting straight A's and like laughing when people thought I was some kind of like delinquent who was smoking cigarettes in the back of the school when I was a complete straight edger.
He's up to no good. He's a straight student.
Yeah, and like No, I wasn't doing any no drinking, none of that stuff. Didn't do anything like that until college. I was a good kid. But that's, again, it's the two sides. That's what I find really fun is kind of disproving people's assumptions and expectations about what pops into their head when they first see you. So yeah. Anyway, that's
I was a big Def Leppard fan too. That's the other one that was out there lurking around. But they were a little bit more, they weren't heavy. They were very light. And then I think I was a fan of Bon Jovi too. I'm surprised.
Yeah,
Yeah, New
of course.
Jersey, right? Like,
That was right. Yep.
I just and it's interesting too because there was a cassette store in Cape May, and whenever we used to go to Cape May, that's when I used to find all these cool albums. And I used to, always. And then one day I saw the plane with the tail and License to Ill, and I'm like, that's a pretty cool. I'm like, these Beastie Boys. Let me see what this is all about. Yeah, those are good times, man.
Yeah.
Bringing back childhood memories. Okay, so music litigation. I'm gonna go with. So you get to court and you get into all of this stuff. And I think what I want to ask right now is what'd you learn about people from court?
I think one of the things that became like most obvious was that everybody has like a persona that they kind of put on when they're in court, and it's oftentimes different from who they are in private. And the same goes for communications over email or by letter versus over the phone or in person. And I'm guilty of the same thing. Like, I can write a really good nasty letter, but then when you get me on the phone, I'm just like, I don't have any interest in like yelling at each other. Like, let's try to work it out. But you have to put on that that layer of kind of professional combativeness to advocate for your clients. Like, you're not there to be the nice guy, but being civil is I find makes more progress than being a jerk. Like, it's just, of course, the claws come out, the fangs come out, whatever, when they have to. But I don't find it to be a mandatory part of the interaction. So yeah, you get to see different sides of people, and they can often be very different from the person that you talk to in the hallway. And then the person who's presenting to the judge. It's an interesting kind of psychological experiment.
The experiences that you have been part of, I should say probably lawsuits, but the experiences that you have the chance to go in and, they often say, right, there's always three sides to every story, right? There's their side, this person's side, and then there's the truth, right? Do you do you find that this is an area where people take advantage, or take what they can, or oftentimes it ends up being mistakes, or they know what they're doing? Like, what am I trying to ask here? Do you, I guess, is this an area where people are taking, I guess I already asked it like that. Would you say that you're involved in lying, or is it just mistakes, or something's owed, or I'll give you an divorce court, being a divorce lawyer, I heard, it's gets nasty at these things, and people are lying. And I would imagine that now with technology, and especially for you, and especially with your knowledge of the blockchain and how everything works, it's going to be a lot easier to prove things in the court of law from here on forward. But when it comes to a time period where maybe you didn't have access to the internet, or you couldn't go online and really research the facts or the details, or we didn't have access to all this information, which then, in turn, you have to trust what somebody's telling you. Did you find that a lot of this was, manipulation, or somebody defending something that they owed? What would you say the nature of the cases? Yeah, I think I'm asking the right thing.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I think it's almost like I'm going to give you the very lawyerly answer of it depends. That's the classic get out of jail free card for lawyers. It depends. But I think the answer is it's a little bit of all of that, because there are every case is dependent on its facts to some degree, and the people involved can all have different motivations, and I think so. Yes, there's some degree of kind of spinning the facts in your favor, spinning the law in your favor, but you have to do it in an ethical way, because if you misrepresent the facts, if you misrepresent the law, if you don't cite a case that is, binding on the court that you're in and you knew about it and you don't say, those are all ethical violations. So you're taking your license and your reputation into your own hands if you're going to play games like that. So I try to give everybody the benefit of the doubt that they are operating above board, and that certain things that don't seem quite kosher are either mistakes, or maybe you didn't know about this, and it doesn't mean I'm not going to come after you hard about it. But I think a lot of the times where things seem like lies or deception or whatever, memories are imperfect. Even the most diligent person with all the records and whatever can forget things. They can miss things. Lawyers miss things. I think a lot of the time it's just human. It's just being a human. So it's the saying that there's three sides, and then that the third side is the truth. What really is that, though? I mean, because everybody kind of has a different perception of what is true, and sometimes people's memories are not even not.
They don't remember it exactly the way it happened.
Right. It's an imperfect record of what happened, especially if a lot of time has passed. Those are the challenges that you're dealing with in trying to get to like whatever the truth is. But yeah, have there been instances where people have been dishonest, or hidden things, or like, oh, I just found this thing 2 days before trial? Like, yeah. Thankfully, they were not my clients, and these are all the opposing parties that this happened to. I got to be the one to throw the fit. Weird things have happened in depositions. Taking somebody's deposition, then all of a sudden, what they sued you for, they just don't remember that anymore. And you have to know how to use those things to your advantage to either get a settlement, get the case thrown out. Use that as some sort of leverage to say, look, you're looking at sanctions, your client perjured themselves, whatever. Everybody screams about perjury, and it's like you really have to intend to lie, right? Like if you forget something, if you misstate something, that's not perjury. Like perjuring yourself, like you really have to like have the intention to misstate something. So people will say false things that are like, I guess, false, but it's not necessarily intentionally false. And so this just gets into, and again, to your point, before the internet, before social media and like everything being documented, you had to rely more on memory and more on hard copy documents that might not be legible anymore, or that weren't scanned or stored properly or whatever. And so the technology has made things a lot more efficient, but also the volume of stuff that you have to look at is like exponentially larger, because now you have a million emails instead of like 10,000 documents that you have to sort through. And so there's there's the yin and the yang. There's two sides to to every technological advancement, I think.
Okay. So holy shit. Time is, I knew this was going to be a good conversation, and I always can tell how fast when the time, that's an hour, right? I could always tell when that's a fast hour. I could always tell how fast the hour goes by how good the conversation is. Okay. Stepping away from the law for a second, how did you stumble upon NFTs, and how did you get, well, I'm going to imagine that it was the NFTs in Web3, which is what I was trying to get at earlier, which I was curious about. Did you step away from the art and then come back to it, which I had a feeling that you did. But so how did you, how did that, I'm not going to say pivot, because you didn't make this big change. You just decided to find some time to, get back into art. But how did you stumble upon Web3, the NFT world? How did all that happen?
Yeah, so it actually is because of my professional existence. Like it stemmed from almost a like business development type of thing. I was I've gone down to Art Basel in Miami a couple of times, and the first time that I went down there, I was with a partner of mine, a law partner at the time, and who was very well versed in kind of all things art, but including Web3 and blockchain and NFT art. And I went to one of the satellite fairs. Like, you go to Art Basel, you can go to the main fair or whatever, but the satellite fairs are more fun. So this one was called Scope. It's like a big tent out on the beach, massive tent. And I'm wandering around, and I'm texting with her, and I said, where do I go? Like, I thought it was huge, and she thought that was really cute, because the convention center where the main fair is like 20 times that size. But I'm out here at this fair, and I'm overwhelmed. Like, what do I do? And she said, why don't you go find Maker's Place? I said, okay, what's that? She said, it's an NFT marketplace. And I was like, what, like Bored Apes? Like, she's like, no, she's like, it's not the PFP kind of, it's not that kind of thing. It's more art focused. Now, obviously, you've got a lot of PFP projects that are art focused, and but my ignorance at the time was that this is all kind of this hyped up thing that everybody is spending tons of money on JPEGs, and I didn't understand it. And so she was like, no, go check it out. They have a booth there. So I went over there, and sure enough, they had these beautiful, huge monitors, digital displays with works from some of their artists. And I was like, oh, okay. So it's art that you put on the wall. Like, and that was kind of, again, like a light bulb moment where I was like, okay, it's art, but it's digital. So like, who cares if it's a JPEG versus a piece of paper versus a block of wood? So I kind of instantly had this appreciation for, okay, I kind of understand digital art now, especially because you can put it on the wall. Like, you actually can have it on the wall. So I started talking to people there, made some connections with some of the folks who had worked there. And I bought my first NFT that day. It was it's called Crypto Bro. It was and it came with, the reason I bought it was because it came with an action figure. It had a physical component to it, and I thought it was hilarious. And it had kind of funny things on it that were kind of poking fun at like crypto bro culture. And my wife at the time was working at a company that dealt with some crypto stuff. I'll just leave it at that. And so I was like, oh, I'll keep the JPEG and I'll give her the action figure as like a gag gift. She thought it was really funny. It's still in her office downstairs. And so then I started getting into collecting. I was like, this is really cool and fun. And after, I don't know, maybe 6 months or so, maybe a year, I started thinking, some of this stuff is really awesome and I definitely couldn't do it. But some of it is like, I could do that. Like, or, people are paying money for stuff that I was like, I could probably do the same thing, or, something comparable to that. And so just kind of as an experiment, I said, why don't I see if I can still find that artistic spark and see if somebody would actually buy it. And look, I'm not quitting my day job, but I made a couple of sales here and there, and I've got a bunch of collectors. And there's like, look, again, I'm not. It's not something that will, God willing, maybe one day it'll be. I can do it full time. But to me, it just proved that I had just as much ability as other people to make things that somebody else would appreciate, or that resonated with them. And so I just decided to keep doing it. And so for me, it was kind of like, all right, well, if I'm gonna collect, I should create and try to make some essentially fund my habit, my art collection habit. And so that's kind of where it started. It was all that visit to Maker's Place and kind of just starting collecting got me thinking about how I used to be an artist, and so I want to be an artist again. And so kind of figured out my own way of doing that.
After the 6 months, right, and you decided, let me create some art. Now, the experience from the past, which is drawing, physical art, and now a phrase that I read heavily every time I check out your website or anything, the bio is digital alchemy, right? And I found that interesting because you didn't really, where a lot of people create a physical and take a picture and put that up as their NFT. You chose creating digitally now. And so how did that decision happen? Because you didn't have any Photoshop experience or no digital art experience. You had some physical art, some music, but then you decided to take the path of creating digital art and getting involved. So I was curious, how did that whole, what did you see? And it's from what I read, right? It seems like you avoid AI a little bit, or maybe the works that you created that I was paying attention to, you had noted that AI wasn't used. But then there's this digital glitch art almost. There's a little genre of, right? Now, mind you, I don't know too much about glitch art, but there is one hell of a physical art sculptor. I think he's Japanese. Japanese or Chinese. I can't remember which. Where he carves this sculpture, but then he carves a digital glitch. He makes the sculpture look like a digital glitch in wood, and it's so to me, I've found fascination in that. That really stated that glitch art is a thing. If this guy is carving, if he's making carvings and into a regular sculpture into glitch art, right? So there's glitch art is technically a very interesting little area of art that takes place. My friend Alana loves glitch art. Right now, I'm not well versed in it, but I was just curious. How did the whole art thing happen, and was it glitch art that got you interested, or like what was it looking at others' art? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I'll let you answer.
Yeah. No, I think that's right. Because most of what I do is, I guess, would fall under the glitch art category. That yeah, because it is kind of a genre at this point. Um, I I was exposed to glitch artists kind of early on when I started collecting, and I started to kind of explore what tools were available. I actually ended up I tried for a little bit to do it manually, like messing with the code in JPEGs, and I just couldn't figure out how to get it to work. But there are a lot of good apps that help you do it in a way that you can control and make it, as much as you can, kind of do what you want it to do. So yes, I don't use AI, generative AI in my works. I certainly collect stuff from other artists and some amazing stuff out there, but there's a lot of it, and so my statement that I'm not using it is nothing against those who are using it. It's just I want to differentiate myself from what I think is there's just a lot of it out there. And so when I kind of discovered this whole glitch thing, I started looking into what apps were available, what tools were available. I said, well, I can draw things, and I can add glitch effects. I can take pictures, I can add glitch effects. And so that's the latter is what I do mostly. I do some kind of digital painting, like in Procreate, and then I'll add glitch stuff to that. But a lot of what I do is photo manipulation, photos that I take. I think I've used a stock photo once, but I will take photographs. Sometimes it's of objects, sometimes it's of buildings or statues or whatever in New York. Sometimes it's of me, and I will destroy it basically and turn it into something that's most of the time is unrecognizable from what it started out as. But because I'm not an illustrator, and my drawing skill, I would really have to spend the time that I don't have redeveloping my drawing skills. And as much as I would love to do that, I have found that I can express most of what I want to express in this way as well, and it's still mine because I'm taking the photo and I'm doing everything kind of manually, as much as you can call it manually when you're using digital apps. And I've just kind of turned it into my own style. Sometimes pass things through 3 or 4 different apps before it's done, and then back to the first one again to add the finishing touches to it. And so yeah, I think a lot of the glitch artists that I was initially exposed to and read about and even met through X and through some other other channels really were kind of the inspiration in finding this style that I've kind of settled into.
Yeah, let me ask you a question. What was it, or what is it about glitch art that was so attractive and interesting to you? And digital alchemy. Maybe you could just break that down a little bit, but go ahead.
Yeah, the alchemy piece of it is, and bear in mind that a lot of the times when I'm making something, when I'm naming it or when I'm putting in the description, it's the first thing that comes to mind. And oftentimes that fits perfectly. Sometimes it won't work and I'll have to step away for a little bit and come back to it. But a lot of the times it's just like I'm looking at it and that's what it should be called. And so for whatever reason, when I was trying to think of how to put kind of like an artist statement together and talk about how I make what I make, alchemy came to mind because you're transmuting something into something else, lead into gold or whatever. And that just seemed to me like that's essentially what I'm doing. I'm taking a photo that you would recognize as this building, or and I'm not, this is not a joke, a floor tile. Like I've seen patterns in floor tiles that I've taken pictures of and turned into something completely different. So something as mundane as that and turning it into something totally different to me was like a form of alchemy. And I just thought it was a fun term. So that's where that came from. And the glitch part of it, I think, is growing up with VHS tapes and old computers and stuff, that those were effects that were kind of familiar, and they were seen at that time as errors, or it's garbage or whatever, like, this tape is broken, it's or the monitor's on the fritz or whatever. But the colors are really cool, and the patterns are really cool. And somebody, I don't probably haven't read as much about the genre as I should have, but somebody figured out how to turn that into art, because they realized that, this, something that's considered a mistake or a corruption or whatever can actually be really beautiful, and you can turn it into something cool. And so I was just kind of drawn to that, and the idea of breaking something down and just kind of destroying it, turning it into something else. And I like the idea of using the photo, or the base kind of as both the canvas and the paint. So like if I take a photo, put it in Procreate, change up the colors, add some effects, shift it over into there's a great app called Destroy Pix. Lets you manually, like either with your finger or with a stylus, corrupt like the pixels using different kinds of brushes. Using the photo as the canvas and the pixels as the paint, I found to be really fun, and like I could just make really cool things, and just got a sense of satisfaction out of it. And so I kind of settled into this style and have really enjoyed it.
Interesting. I never you and Alana, I think, are the only two that have been on the show that I'm pretty sure, I don't think anyone else did glitch art or was into glitch art. And I never asked Alana what was the fascination with it. So I was curious, because there are a lot of glitch artists and glitch art, and it seems to be a very, it's funny you said about I used to have a VHS collection of, I used to put all my movies on the VHS tapes. So I never, I remember when those tapes used to go bad, and the whole, and that was from that whole 80s era, man. I mean, and they made those the glitch mistakes. They made them part of edits in music videos and movies.
Yeah.
Short little trailers or intros, right. So I remember there was this movie Shocker, if I remember correctly. I think it was called Shocker, and it was a guy who came out of the television set, and he looked he's
I
all.
think I read that. Yeah. Oh my God, I haven't thought of that movie in like 30 years.
Yes, yeah. So if I remember correctly, I think it was Peter Berg. And Peter Berg is now a director. He directed some, I think he's an excellent director. He did The Rundown. He did Battleship. He did a whole collage. He's a very good action director. But he starred in Aspen Extreme, and he was also starred in Shocker. And Shocker, there was this guy, a murderer. He caught the murderer. They fried him, right? They put him in the death, but then this guy somehow channeled through the electricity and would show up and he would glitch out of the TV set,
Yes, I remember this movie. Oh my God.
Remember that movie? Yeah, man, you're bringing up some old memories. I love that movie, but I remember there was so much into about him coming out of the TV set. I don't know if you remember Poltergeist. Right? They had the glitch art going on, which and they're in the television. Okay, so let me check the time here because we got a wow 10:22. Okay, so before too much time gets away from us, I want to move over to the computer. I want to bring up your site. I want to show everybody your art, what you create. I want to have you talk about that a little bit,
Sure.
and then yeah, let me get everything together here and let me start moving over to the computer before we, because time is cooking. And I don't know if it's two guys sitting here talking about the 80s that's making it so move so quickly here. But the 80s was a good time. Let me switch the first thing I want to do is switch the. I used to work in film. And is it raining by you?
Oh yeah, I'm watching the lightning out my window.
Okay, me too. Yeah. So I don't know if it's been lighting up the back of the set. But okay, you should be able to see me now. Good.
Yeah.
So it's been pouring here, raining, and I used to work in film, and so there was this thing where they would in film they would have to let me start moving these things around, these screens while we talk. In film, you used to have to help someone else on their film. They help you, and you get people based on their strengths. I was always good at unloading and loading the camera.
Yeah.
So people loved me because, that was the most risky. You could spend 10,000 on a shoot, and if you unload the camera the wrong way and get light in the film, you can blow to negative, right? So people used to love the way I rigged. And so I don't know if you could tell, but through that door, there's a light behind me, and it's pouring out there.
Yeah.
And so I rigged this whole umbrella system. And now I was wondering, I'm like, is this going to work? But the light's holding up pretty good. And I see the umbrella.
Like that green light in that was behind me. It looks awesome. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. So that I always cater the lights to the months in the hour of power. So like Christmas, it'll be red and green. Halloween, it'll be orange. It gives it like a little personality. But this is the first time since I moved to the new set where it was going to rain during the show. And I'm like, shit, man, I hope it doesn't short out the light. I'm like, maybe I got it. You know what? I'll rig an umbrella over it. I'll sit, and it's been pouring, and I'm like, shit, look at that. It's holding up back there.
Held up.
So, all right, let me. I've been thinking about this ever since it's been pouring through our conversation, and I'm like, man, I hope that light don't go out because the set's gonna look a little different. Okay, so I have next to you right now your website, and I think that's a good place to start. Let me get all these screens right. And I will say hello to everybody in a second. Give me a second, see if anybody will drop in any comments. Facebook seems to be a little active, so hello to all you guys on Facebook. Not sure what's going on in. What's up, Josh? So Josh, who is in the box, and Danny. I gotta get to Danny. Danny's the one I'm missing. What's up, Danny? I see you out there. What's up, Josh? So Josh's father is an attorney. So he said he was really enjoying the conversation. And then what's up, Steve? Steve's over on IG, but I also think he's dropping in on. It's gonna be. I don't know if you have plans NFT NYC at all. Yeah.
I will be there.
I gotta be honest. I went there in 23. I knew 2 people. I did not go in 24, but 25. I feel like ever since I did the show, there's gonna be a lot of people there that I'm really looking forward to meeting. I wouldn't mind doing a show from actual NFT NYC and having everybody come on real time, and saying
that'd be great.
Yeah, I thought that would. I think it's going to be a good time, and they moved it to June.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. So I went last year. I had a piece in it last year, and and spoke, and so same thing this year. I'm speaking on the legal track, and
Okay.
got a piece in the community showcase, and we had like 4 of us from FCW got pieces in. So I think there's going to be some of us taking over that gallery space. Is going to be fun.
I know Steve is pumped. I know Vicky Licious was
Yep.
accepted, so I know she's in there. I know Uka was looking forward to coming up. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Wick got a piece in, I believe.
Oh, Wick too. Okay, I didn't see that. All right, so Wick. Yeah, it's going to be a heavy presence of you guys at this thing. So that's it's gonna be a good time. All right, I'm gonna get out the way here and stop talking, and I'm gonna let you take it over from here. So we're on your website, MetalHeaD Art, and why don't you take us for a tour through some of your art? If there's anything you want to specifically bring attention to, also.
Sure.
And then I also have your link tree. I have your Instagram up. But where do you think the best place to start is?
Yeah, probably the website.
Okay.
How do I can I bring that up on my screen, or should I just be looking at it separately?
You mean the show?
Yeah.
You could open probably. So if you go to X and click on the little pink thing around my face, it'll probably open up the show. You'll be able to watch it from there. That'll probably give you a good idea. But just remember, we're 15 seconds behind. So if you ask me to bring something up, I probably have it up when I say.
Okay.
So.
Got it. Cool. All right. So the first piece here is next to like the artist statement is that's a self-portrait. It's a photo I took of myself and then just did all the crazy glitch effects. That's a piece that sits on Exchange on Solana. I think that's Pieces of the Self. I think that one is. Again, sometimes it's funny. Sometimes it works backwards. I will hear a phrase or someone will say something and I'll say, that's a really good title for a piece of art. And then the concept generates kind of from the phrase. So that was one scenario where that's kind of how that came about. It's if you scroll down a little bit, some of the stuff, like the animated stuff, is a little bit older. So you've got, I have to change this up. If you go down past the animations to where it says marketplaces.
Okay.
So the one all the way on the left was a piece on, it was on Maker's Place. Sometimes most of my stuff is highly abstract. Some of it is figurative. Some of it's kind of portrait-ish. This is one of my kind of more figurative ones. I'll use kind of models of of people, position them, then I'll essentially photograph that and then change it up. And so I ended up this I actually did have to use Photoshop on this one, which I almost never use. Not because it's not a great app. I just don't know how to use it that well. So that one was fun. So these are kind of examples of the types of things that were on each platform, and then the one in the middle on Object. Object has a lot of abstract stuff. This one again is a little bit more figurative. I think the one on the left is called Falling Apart. This one is called Justice, and the one on the right with the two figures is called Nephilim, and that's on Exchange. Exchange has a lot more kind of figurative things with things you can actually see, like, and kind of make up what they are. I still haven't figured out a like a theme for each marketplace. Like some people will only put certain things on some marketplaces, and then
I was just having this conversation with someone. I know exactly what you're talking about. Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't figured it out. I thought I had it figured out, and then I started using, I put things on 01, which is a great platform, and Rodeo, and I keep thinking I'll have these concepts in my head where I'll stick with this one theme, and then I never do. So it's just the ADD brain coming out, I guess. Further down, when you get to, so let me go to the live stream here. If you go all the way down to where it says portfolio.
Yeah, I was just clicking on that, showing everybody.
Yeah. That piece in the middle, with the, looks like a face coming over the building. That's one of my favorites. That actually was in the piece that was shown in NFT NYC in last year. That one I called Neon Apocalypse. Again, it was literally the first thing that came to mind when I finished it. And that started life as a photograph. God, where did I take that? I don't even remember. It was somewhere local, and the black center of the eye is the sun. It was the sun on a cloudy day, and I thought it looked really cool hanging over these buildings, because the darkened part at the bottom are just a couple of buildings. And if you asked me to recreate this process, I couldn't do it exactly.
I was gonna ask you, is there a plan? Well, no. How about, let me say it like this: when you have when you take a photo, and you kind of, you know what, I'm gonna work with this. I feel good with this. Does it come out how you see it, or like when you run it through the processing mill, does it take a complete left turn from what you originally thought?
Sometimes I don't actually have a concept. Like I didn't know what was going to happen with this one. I just knew that the way the sun looked in the clouds above those buildings was cool. Let me see what I can do with it. And then as I started messing with the colors and shifting things around, it started to look like a face. And I was like, the concept of like a monstrous face in the sky is very cosmic horror, and I'm very into sci-fi and horror and dark fantasy stuff.
You gotta be. You knew Shocker, bro.
Exactly.
How many people know that film?
Yep. I have to go find it now. But I was like, okay, so that's the concept I'm going to work with. And then I just kind of know when the colors are right. And then I stop messing with it. And so the things like, if you look closely kind of above the eye, there's kind of like eyelashes, and then right above the buildings, I made teeth. And so a lot of that is just manipulated pixels with using a stylus. So this one didn't particularly have a plan. But when I do have something in mind, because I'm not drawing it, I don't have full agency over what it would look like. And even if I was drawing it, I wouldn't necessarily be able to replicate 100% what's in my head. But like that piece falling apart, I knew what I wanted that to look like. And it came out essentially the way I wanted it to. And same thing with, there's one kind of in the lower left corner, underneath the skull. It's kind of got blue and green, things coming out the top of the head. Got it. Yeah, that I had a very specific idea about, and was able to make it look like I wanted to make it look. So sometimes there's no plan, and sometimes there is. It just kind of depends on the situation.
Okay. Motion or no motion? Does it? How do you know when to animate it? How do you know when to? How do you know when to keep it still?
Most of my stuff is still, uh, but there are some instances where I'll look at something and I'll say it's just missing something, and so go back into the tools that I use, and a lot of the glitch effects can cause motion, or if you put an overlay on that's kind of like an analog glitch, um, and it just sometimes if the project that I'm working on calls for motion, I'll obviously add it, but a lot of the times it's just if something feels like it's missing, it's kind of like, yeah, I think this needs a little extra something. Like for this one, the neon apocalypse with the face over the buildings, I knew that didn't need anything else. Like it would have been too busy, it would have been and it would have interfered with kind of the central image of the face. But for something that's much more abstract, like right below that, where you've got the kind of zoom, the infinite zoom, and then there's the one next to it that looks like a black hole. Those more abstract things. Those are often the ones that I'll animate, especially if it's something like that's meant to be really trippy or psychedelic, or the black hole one is I had like a whole black hole series, little mini series that I did on Object. And so I was like, well, I have to have some sort of animation on a black hole. Like there has to be some sort of motion. And to me, it was like, glitch is perfect because who the hell knows what happens when you get close to a black hole, but I assume your instruments get all fucked up. And so to me, it was like, oh, we're approaching this thing, and it's like, what would the screens in the spaceship look like? And or what would your helmet display be showing as you're getting dragged in? So if it fits the concept, sometimes that's an added bonus too.
I had your I brought your exchange up, and I was just flicking through some of the exchange artwork. I it's it's interesting because your art feels familiar to me, but yet I'm learning about it tonight, right? But yet it feels familiar. And like there's pieces here. Now I don't know the name of this piece right here. Nowhere precisely. But
Yeah.
a lot of your stuff has like so Tron has that Tron feel, right? Your influences of the 80s, which I would be able to recognize. I don't know if everybody would, but so that tells me we're around the same age. I think I probably have you by either 6 or 8 years, but I was doing the math in my head. But I recognize it because I know that time period, right? But most people don't. But you can feel your it's crazy I'm about to say this, but some of your artworks give me that stranger what's the name of that show? Stranger Things? Yeah, right. And Stranger Things was all the art direction was from it's a show that takes place in the 80s, right? And I was thinking to myself, like, I get a Stranger Things feel, I get a Tron feel. I could see the influence of that time period on your art. Would you do? I don't know if you agree or disagree. I feel like Aliens, right? And the film Aliens. I remember seeing those covers in the video rental places for the first time. But I get that same feeling when I'm looking at some of these pieces.
Yeah, no, I think that's right, and I go for extreme colors. I'm not a monochrome kind of artist. I have a couple here and there of that are one or two colors, but bright, loud, retina searing colors is kind of what I go for. And it's interesting I really value hearing that kind of analysis about how it's related to the 80s, because it's 100% true, and at the same time totally unconscious, because
right.
go into that, right? Like I didn't go into it saying I want to make this look like something from the 80s, but you've got
we're like 40 years later, right?
Like of course it's looking back at it now with your perspective, like of course it must be that, because there's all these neons and these combinations of fluorescent colors is really is kind of 80s ish. It's funny, you mentioned Alien, that FCW Monsters collection that we did. I did the Xenomorph. That was one of my that was my contribution to that collection, was literally the alien from Alien.
I remember that was the community show piece, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, holy shit! I didn't even think about that until now. And but minute you said it, I remembered the piece. And I remember us talking about it, and now I'm like, oh my God, this makes total right. Like, yeah, that, yeah, because that was such a big movie at that time period. Especially Aliens with James Cameron and the whole Space Marines. That was a big movie during that time period. Okay, so not true. I'm gonna go ahead and say that your exchange art seems to hold this theme of very interesting pieces with faces buried in them.
Yeah. So that's actually one of the constants, is that the stuff on exchange is pretty figurative, or with faces or whatever. And I had this whole what did I call it? Terrible Skies, I think, there's a handful of them that are like, literally just monsters in the sky. And so again, that's kind of like cosmic horror stuff coming to life a little bit. So to some extent, the exchange stuff is a bit more thematically consistent. Then object is back and forth, but mostly abstract. And then I guess my Maker's Place stuff is now just kind of in my wallet, and some of it I relisted on OpenSea. Some I still haven't figured out what to do with yet, but that stuff was pretty varied. But I tried to make discrete, series of works, and I have maybe 3 collections on OpenSea that those I try to keep stylistically consistent. One is skulls, one is another kind of almost PFP type thing, and then the other is more of these figurative things, but again, like with a very kind of heavy psychedelic theme to it. So I can try to compartmentalize a little bit.
Okay, so this is my first time being on the new OpenSea, so I gotta kind of find my way around here a little bit. Collection. Are these collections? I was headed over to at first I was headed over to object. I have your object up, so I was gonna show a little bit about your object, but you started talking about OpenSea, so I decided to bring up the OpenSea, but I'm not familiar on how to maneuver around. Are these all collections?
Let me see. I gotta go back to where you are.
So you've been producing like a machine over there. Are these all your collections? Do I have this right?
Oh, is this? Are you on? Is that?
I'm on OpenSea, MetalHeaD, ESQ, created.
It should be created.
And then it gives you collection, and then it looks like there's about 10, maybe 15 collections here.
So let me see. I'm still using the old OpenSea, but I think collections, it probably is showing.
Okay, I got it. It also shows a single as a
Yes.
collection. Oh, okay, I got you. I got
Yeah,
it.
those are the ones from I think those were from Echo, the platform Echo, ended up showing up as individual collections. So I have 3 like actual collections. There's Based Glitch Ghouls is the skulls that I was telling you about, the glitched out skulls.
Okay.
Hyper Aware is the kind of pseudo PFP project, and then and Theogen is the psychedelic figurative
I like this one. I like Prowler.
Prowler. Oh yeah, where's Prowler? Oh, I only have. Oh, I think I sorted it. Hang on, I gotta undo this 1 second.
I like Emperor too.
Oh yeah, yeah. Those were all. So all of the Based Glitch Ghouls were. They're a spin-off of the Based Ghouls collection, which I hold a couple of those. And as a holder, you can make spin-offs. And so at the time I was making these, I wasn't a Based Ghoul holder, and I ended up becoming one and learning about being able to kind of use the name and kind of theme to make it almost like a side collection. I said, oh, this is stuff that I'm already working on, would fit pretty well. And so that's why I ended up calling it Based Glitch Ghouls, because it's a spin-off of that original series. But they're all they're all named after either metal or punk bands or songs or album names or something having to do with music.
Where's Eddie? Has Eddie not shown up yet?
Wonder if do I have an Iron Maiden one? I must have made an Iron Maiden one.
I was gonna say, how did you not?
So, oh yeah, there's Prowler. Prowler's a good one. Let's see. Huh. All right. Well, I guess in the next season, I'm gonna have to have.
There you go.
Shadow Knight, Unhallowed. Nope, these are all. Yeah. Huh. Shame on me. I missed the Iron Maiden title. Okay. Well, life goals. That'll be the next one. Yeah. So these are fun. The Hyper Aware pieces are all kind of they're all based on like you can, if you read the description, it's they're all kind of visual manifestations of kind of the nonstop engine that is my brain, as a and everybody kind of says, oh, I'm so ADD. No, like I'm literally ADD, and it's it's like the engine never stops, and so you're very aware of things and you think about things in different ways, and sometimes you're hypersensitive to things, and so I just kind of wanted to make a bunch of these that kind of visually represented some of those feelings. And it's a little bit more of a, I wouldn't say it's serious, but like a little bit more of a somber theme to it than just the skulls, which I love my skulls, don't get me wrong, but it was just a little bit of a pivot. So those I've been having a lot of fun with.
Hey, question. How do you know when? And you mentioned this before, right? But I gotta ask this again because I need to get a bit more focused on that answer. Because I heard you say something, but I don't know if I was doing something. But I heard you talking about it. How do you know when this is like, how do you know when a piece is finished?
I heard somewhere, and I don't know where the quote came from, and I don't know if it was about art or a book or whatever, but it was essentially it's never really done. You just abandon it. So at some point you just have to stop. I think for my purposes, it's just an instinctive thing where it's like, yeah, I shouldn't do any more on this. And in some pieces like the base glitch ghouls, if I take it a step too far, I kind of know, and so I'll go back and undo it, and then I'll know it's done, because if you glitch it too much, you can't make out what it is. And I still want whether it's the skull or the face, the head turned, whatever, in hyper aware, or the figures in like in controlled psychosis, or where's the other one, LD50, like they're distorted, but if I added more to it, you would lose the central figure. And so I've done that a couple of times where I've gone too far with something, and so I'm kind of getting a sense for knowing like what's too far, and what will kind of ruin the central image, so that you won't be able to make it out anymore.
You've had some success with some sales. Very nice.
Yeah, here and there. I guess it's tough market in general.
Do you find that there's a lot of glitch art? Because now remember, I'm asking because I don't know too much about this little niche, but do you find that there's a lot of glitch artists out there, or?
There's a good number, but there's not. It doesn't hold a candle to other styles, I think. I mean, and like I mentioned before, there's a lot of AI art, and some of that is collaged or manipulated in other ways, and it makes for some really amazing pieces. But it has, because it kind of has opened the possibilities of creation, it just means there's more content, and so that's good, and there's good and bad to everything, right? So it's good and bad. There's more content, there's more awesome and beautiful things to see and appreciate and collect, and then at the same time there is more awesome and amazing and beautiful things to collect, and not everybody can collect everything. So it's not, I can't feel upset about it or anything, because you can't, it's not really a competition, right? Because art is so subjective that if somebody wants to invest in photography or AI or something that's a digital rendition of a charcoal sketch, as opposed to glitch art, it's a matter of taste and a matter of stylistic preference, and it is what it is. So I think it's just that there's a lot of digital art out there in general, not necessarily that there's a ton of glitch art, but there certainly is really cool glitch stuff out there by other artists. Again, that's kind of how I got into this whole thing to begin with.
I'm just flipping through your object now. Event Horizon, funny. Know that one very well too.
Yep. One of my favorite movies.
I remember seeing that one in the theater.
Yes, so did I. Man, that was still kind of is terrifying. I mean, it's a really good movie.
That was with Lawrence Fishburne, right? Do I have the right one?
Yes.
No. Yeah.
Yes.
Right? And what was the white guy? That's it. Sam Neill,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, that to put like a black hole and a spaceship and basically like a portal to hell all in one, I mean, it doesn't get much scarier than that. So it's just, that's such an awesome movie. So yeah, some of these things will come from movie titles too, or just basic concepts. There's one on Object, another one of the black hole pieces called Cygnus X1, which I think it's the name of a black hole, but it's also a Rush song. So sometimes it's got multiple meanings.
I got it. Okay. You know, what do I want to do? What do I want to ask? Coming into, I gotta keep an eye on the time. Wow, damn, that's 2 hours already.
It's fast.
Holy shit, right? You know, coming into digital glitch art, it's not something that you something that, you know, I would say what, 2-3 years now.
2 years,
right? And how compared to others, right? And we're never supposed to compare ourselves, but I think sometimes it's, you know, seeing what else is out there and what others are doing can help with your direction, right? And so any thoughts on the future as far as projects, anything that you might have set your sights on? You know, when it comes to glitch art, is there something as focusing on the skill of glitching? I don't, you know, I don't know what to say because I've never experienced or done glitch art, right? But how do you move forward from here?
Yeah, it's a really good question, because at some point you do it starts to get a little, you know, repetitive. I try to experiment with new apps and new tools, and I've actually found recently several times there are a lot of features within the apps that I'm using that I didn't know existed, or I didn't know what they were or how they worked, and I've had people, you know, show me, and I'm gonna go, oh shit, that could add a whole new layer to what I'm doing. And then there's augmented reality is another good layer to put on top of things. You use something like the Art of Vive app, and you know, you can have kind of activated images that show motion when you use the app. My friend, the Visceral Glitch, is masterful at that. This piece here is one of his on the wall. So he actually, I've actually learned a lot from him on you know, how to make good glitch art using motion and AR. So I think motion and AR are kind of where I'll go next, and kind of adding more elements. I think I need to use layers more too. I tend to really just only work in one or two layers. I don't do a ton of layering. Yeah, I mean, look, I've been following a lot of glitch artists and learning a lot from them, and so, like, you know, Visceral and Jared Scott and Empress Trash and you know, a lot of these kind of awesome glitch artists I've kind of, you know, admired and collected from and learned from. And I also find a lot of inspiration with FCW. These guys are you know, they're super talented. I've got them showcased in the background. I changed my my office decor specifically for this occasion.
It's like an FCW shrine behind you.
Yep, got some acid, got some BB, and then yeah, I mean, I try to take inspiration from them. I mean, different skill set. These guys are physical artists and doing, you know, stuff with paint and stuff that I wish I could do, but
I was getting to that. I'm getting to that question.
I get inspiration. Yeah. All right. Sorry, I won't ruin another question.
Right. So, any thoughts? Right. At one point in time, you were doing physical art. Any thoughts of? And then you are surrounded by physical guys over there with FCW. Do you have any itch to get into the physical stuff again, or are you gonna remain digital? What are your thoughts?
I do have the itch. I mean, like, seeing the stuff in the back, like from these guys and from Steve with the Garbage Pail Kids and the sketch cards, and Uka does paintings, and Wick creates physical things, sculptures, and again, yeah, I would love to. The problem is time and space,
Sure.
and I wish I could set up an easel and just do teach myself how to paint. I just don't see it. I don't see it happening that soon. I think drawing probably will come first, and probably starting with drawing on Procreate. Like Vicky does a lot of drawing on Procreate, and then makes physical works. So my thought is that I want to start making physical products right from the digital works, prints, it's things simple as postcards, stickers, prints, shirts, things like that. I think would be a fun next step. And then
these some of these skulls, this Emperor skull and the other one that some of this stuff I think would look phenomenal on like almost, I could see this being on like how like a tie-dye shirt looks, but like, yeah, if this thing printed the whole shirt, and I could see this doing very well, or I could even see this being, if you put it on a canvas or had this, right? I think this would do very well on a canvas as a physical as well.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I want to experiment with it, and the problem is that I put out so much stuff, and I like so much of it, and I almost get paralyzed with like, what do I do with it, and what's the right thing to do, even though there's no real right thing to do with it.
I hear that.
But yeah, I think I'm going to move into that a little bit, start making some different types of products, and then maybe one day I'll get back into the real drawing, and we'll see where my attention takes me in the next year or two. But
it's interesting how glitch art and Web3 has reignited the artist in you, right? And it's brought you back into creating, and that's to me important, right? Because it's probably your meditation at night. I wouldn't be surprised if you find a lot of answers to your arguments within the art, I'm sure you're thinking about work as you're creating, and probably put it out of your mind, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh wait, I could take that angle. Okay. I would imagine I would be surprised how similar we are as artists. Question, has your professional does your professional life know about your art life at all, or vice versa? Do they? Well, no, your art life wouldn't know about you. Does your professional life know that you dabble in art at all, or?
They do, yeah. There a lot of us who are in the kind of quote entertainment law, or I say quotes because there's really no such thing. It's just a combination of other types of law. But entertainment, media, art. Lawyers typically have some sort of creative background, and so a lot of people have they're musicians or crafters or writers, or and so they do know, and I've had stuff a piece at NFT NYC, and through another through Super Chief, I had a piece up in Times Square as a part of a collection. And so these are kind of things that I've been working at a small firm, and we know each other very well, and so they're the kind of accomplishments that I like to tell people about, and that people really like to hear. And so it's a nice position to be in, where your colleagues are supportive of you and in your kind of extracurricular activities, and some of the art community knows what I do. I'm not really shy about it. I don't talk a ton about it on social media or within these groups, but sometimes it comes up, and it's a nice crossover.
It was a fellow colleague who also introduced you to all of this. So have you been filling her in on how you got, I mean, I would imagine that you told her how you got active and probably showed her some mints and things of that nature.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
guess.
gave her, yeah, and I keep her posted on that. And she's seen everything. She's been super supportive. Yeah, that's been really good.
Okay. I'm gonna start setting the screens back. I think we're about we're about 2 hours 6 minutes in. But before I do that, Scott, why don't you let them know where while I have all these links up. And you know what? Before I say all this, before we move on from this, I showed the website. I brought up your OpenSea. We showed some art off there. We showed some stuff off your object, your exchange. I think I showed them your link tree, and then I also flicked through your IG as well. Is there anything that you want to show them that I might have missed, or I just gave them a good broad overview while we talked.
Yeah.
But I don't know if there's something specific you want to bring attention to, or.
No, I don't think so. Those are, that's where everything lives right now. Again, I miss Baker's Place. They really were my kind of gateway into this whole world. And but I had a lot of stuff on there, and I'm planning on re-minting it, or I guess it's already minted technically, but listing more of that stuff again, because there's some pieces on there that I was really proud of, and those show up technically in my collection because I own them. Shows that I own them on OpenSea. But I was really happy with a lot of those pieces. The first one that comes to mind is I had this whole series called the Lightning Chronicles. I was in Costa Rica, and they had these. This is like 2 summers ago. Phenomenal lightning storms. I mean, like the craziest lightning you've ever seen. And I took videos of it and captured some still frames of lightning passing behind a volcano, which is like the view from where we were, and turned it into crazy psychedelic colors, and just made a whole series of those shots. And that's one series that I was really proud of, and I will relist at some point. But yeah, you hit the big ones. So I appreciate that.
Okay. Before we switch everything back and start closing out the show and getting ready to say goodnight, before we do all that, why don't you let these guys know the best way to get in touch with you, and what places might be a better way to reach out and find you, and then also direct them to where to see more of your art.
Sure. Yeah. I think probably the best place to reach me is on X. That's really kind of where my art world lives. And so my just bring up. Yeah, it's at MetalHeaD EST. That's my name on X. So that's a good place to find me. MetalHeadArt.com is my website. That's got links to object and exchange. I will have to swap out the Maker's Place link, sadly, but I'll put my OpenSea on there. That's got a contact form if you want to contact me that way. I'll get it through email. And yeah, the Linktree's got everything on it.
How do they find that Linktree?
I mean, it's linktr.ee. That's the kind of the formula, and then it's / and then it's just my name, Scott Shoulder. It's SCOTTSHOLDER. No U.
Okay.
So that's got everything on it, including all the socials and Rodeo and 01 and kind of all the other platforms where I post stuff, and get the creativity out in the world. And Warpcast is a good place too. A lot of the rodeo stuff goes up on Warpcast. Yeah, so X and Linktree and the website. Can't go wrong.
Okay, give me 1 second here. All right, guys. So right now his X is up on screen. You guys can check this out. That's at MetalHeaD EST. So you can find him here on X through this profile. Also, his MetalHeadArt.com. This is his main website right here that I have up right now on the screen. And then also there's a contact section where you can go and reach out to him, contact him. Also, his X is here. The link tree that he's speaking about is right here. And so it's at Scott Shoulder, which is his link tree, and this is where he was talking about all his links. You can find his home to his regular website as well as all his NFT sites. You have OpenSea here, Exchange Art, Object, 01 Rodeo Foundation, as well as his socials, where he can be found on his socials as well. I didn't even see you had a Facebook. This is his IG. And then this is a good place to check out a lot of his art as well. I was flicking through this during the show. This has a nice catalog of showing all different sorts of glitch art as well. And then, of course, I showed you guys that this is his OpenSea, which you saw earlier, but I'll show this again just to get the name on the screen. This is his object, and then as well as his exchange. I think that covers the majority of it. I'll show foundation just because of the hell of it. Okay, so this is the big question. MetalHeaD 74. What's the 74 for?
So 74, I remember this very clearly. When I was a kid, everyone was like, "Oh, what's your lucky number?" And I could never decide whether it should be 7 or 4. And so I just put them together and made it 74. And then, when I was on had AOL screen names or AIM or whatever, it was always something followed by a 74. And then I played lacrosse in high school and my number was 74. And so I don't know, something about that number just always stuck.
All right, so that's not a date year. That's not a
No.
Okay. That's my birth year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I was like,
I'm 82, so you got it.
I know it. What did I say? I had 6 or 8 years on you, right? I was doing the math when you were saying, I forgot what you said. What album came out when you were like 12?
Oh, Dookie. Yeah, 1994.
Right. I was starting to do the math in my head. I'm like, all right, I know where he's at. Okay. All right. So that's all. And then Warpcast link right here, guys. And then also I think I brought up his foundation. I did. So, okay. I think I got it all covered and shown. Scott, give me a second while I reset these screens back to normal here. All right. Let's bring that up and then double screen vert that up. Give me a second to switch the battery on the camera. Funny, I have the entire interview, the entire conversation. I had you on a screen which sometimes has a glitch for some reason. I have yet to figure out what is causing this glitch. Doesn't happen on my other 3 screens, only happens on this screen. So I'm wondering if it's a cable issue, but certainly seems appropriate for this show. I believe in I don't believe in fluke or coincidence or luck. I believe in manifestation, what you are, what you think. And just funny because I always look for these little signs. And I'm sitting here and I'm getting frustrated because the glitch seems to be heavy tonight. And I'm just like, shit, we're talking about glitch art here, and I'm like, well, I just got to roll with it. Like, it seems to work out for this one. All right, let me stroll back over here to the table. And there we go. Okay. And what I am curious about is, okay, that's good. All right, very good. Okay. All right. Okay, I got everything set back to normal. Yes, I do. We're all good. Okay. All right, let me double screen. We're good. Okay. Scott. I think we covered everything. I think we went through everything. Before we say goodnight, before we wrap up, you've got my couple closing questions here, which is advice, thoughts, inspiration, right? Maybe a message for all the other people out there who are watching, who might be had an artist in them when they were younger, and somehow life buried it. And it's interesting to see you make your way back into art, and you're a full-time lawyer and doing your thing, and I'm sure that demands a lot of your attention, but yet somehow something has caught your attention within this whole little digital collectible community world. Maybe it's the personalities, maybe it's the excitement, maybe it's the art. Whatever it is, something reignited something so much in you that you created these catalogs and you got motivated and got going again. So, I'm thinking maybe you just leave us with some inspirational words for everybody else out there. And why don't you take her from here?
Yeah, I think if you feel like you have that creative spark in you, you shouldn't. Well, I can't tell you what you should and shouldn't do. Try not to ignore it. It's there for a reason. It's good. It's healthy. I think it's good for you. It adds another dimension to your life. And if you've ever kind of thought, oh, well, I'm not really an artist. Yeah, you are. And I say that because I approached a couple of artists at an event from NFT NYC a couple of years ago, just to talk to them, and they said, "Well, hey, what do you do? Are you an artist too?" And I said, "Well, I'm a lawyer, but I also do some digital art and stuff." And they were like, "Stop, you're an artist," and that really kind of washed away a lot of my self-doubt about like what even is being an artist, and like, am I actually an artist? Like, you're creating something that means something to you, regardless of whether it resonates with somebody or anybody or everybody. If you've got that spark, then yes, you are an artist. And if you can find a way to let it out and have that creative outlet, it's really worth it. It really enhances your life, and it's just added another dimension to the things that I do and the way that I think. And I've met a ton of great people, and if you feel the urge, don't ignore it. I think that's the short version of it, is just go for it and don't second guess yourself too much.
I have a saying in life. I feel that there's an artist in everyone. I say this so much that my words got used against me today. When somebody said, "Well, didn't you say there's an artist in everyone?" And you could be an artist at your lawn. You could be an artist at the way you organize your medicine cabinet. You could be an artist in the way you write a contract. There's so many different art forms, and sometimes people apply that art form to a job in a sense. But I believe we all have an artist in us in some way, shape, or form. Scott, I want to say thank you for coming on the show. I had a plan to get each and every one of you guys on. I didn't want to flood the whole hour of power. I wanted to sprinkle you guys out nicely, and I'm glad that you had reached out, because it was only a matter of time before the message was coming your way. But I want to say thank you for taking your time to come on the show and share your knowledge with everybody, your experiences, your life, your art. it's sometimes it's easy for people, sometimes it's difficult, but I appreciate you for finding 2 hours too. I probably took away from some of your art time, but it's I think really great conversation that shines a very bright light on a lot of your life. So, people get to really know you. So I appreciate you taking the time to do that. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's been great talking to you. I'm glad we got a chance to expand on the last conversation, and it really was a pleasure. So it's 2 hours.
20 minutes.
Like I said, flew by. When it's a good conversation, it flies by. So appreciate it.
I tell everybody in the community shows, I'm like, listen, you got 15 minutes, and 15 minutes is gonna cook like you've never seen before. And then I tell everybody on these shows, listen, 2 hours, 1 hour, it's gonna go fast. You're not gonna realize how fast it's gonna go. But it's going to cook. It's going to move, and nobody believes me. And at the end of the show, everybody's like, holy shit. And I'm like, yeah. Yeah. I've been doing these for a while, and they move quick. Okay. So one last question, Scott, before we say goodnight. Got to close out with a song. Do you have a song in mind?
Well, I was struggling with this going into it, and kept going back and forth. But you made up my mind pretty early on in the interview. I think we got to go with Aces High.
We are going with Aces High. Iron Maiden. All right. I didn't mean to have that type of influence on the track. I thought
it was good because I was just like, oh God, I'm gonna have to make a game time decision. I'm like, nope. It, like you said, there's no coincidence, there's no happenstance.
I'll never forget the if I remember correctly, Eddie had bullet holes through and he's in the plane, and I'll never forget that art. Okay, what I'm gonna do, Scott, so you can hang out to say goodnight to everybody. You could bounce if you want. It's up to you. I'm gonna be 2 minutes. I just want to close out the show, and then I'm gonna be right back. And if you're here, we'll get you on to say goodnight to everybody. So hang on for 1 second. Let me close out this show. Let me over here. There we go. Okay. All right, y'all. So you got a chance to meet Scott, MetalHeaD EST. You got a chance to see his art. Wandered his way. Obviously, entertainment law became his profession and his focus. And his passion, but then found his way back into art through NFTs and Web3. It was through a fellow worker, colleague that actually introduced him to it. So very interesting story and good time getting to learn about glitch art and great conversation. And once again, these FCW guys, freaks, creeps, and weirdos, they don't disappoint. So they always a great show with these guys. Very interesting guys. Steve must be some magnet when it comes to attraction. So he knows how to call a good guests. On that note, guys, you can check out the FCW community show. And then I think we got one last artist to bring on, which is Danny. But these guys have been great every show. So big kudos to them. And looking forward to meet all these guys at NFT NYC 25. 25, right? I got that right, yeah. On that note, guys, no Friday show yet. Might be working on that. And I think we have one last community show. And we do have other different community shows in the works. But we're going to close out in May with our last community show of Linked by Art exhibition. So that'll be Paladin Punks, and I think that's May 14th, if I remember correctly. And that will be our last super community show. So that's interesting. Also, a couple communities out there that we're working on, looking into. If anybody knows a community and wants to introduce us to it, we will do a community spotlight show on them. And also, I'm forgetting something. Our cat community show is coming together nicely. So we're going to pump the brakes on the community shows for now. There will be one here and there, but for the most part, we have finished the most of the communities. So unless we come across some new communities or somebody wants to jump on the show as a community, we're going to taper those back and focus more on the Mondays and Friday shows now. So we'll probably get back to more to that format for the summer. And then after the summer, who knows? Maybe Super Community 7 will bring back the communities again. What else? Spaces tomorrow, 9 to 11. Linked by Art. I'll be on with Sketch and Shira, my co-hosts. And possibly Friday, maybe a return of TGIF. I don't know. We'll see. Took a few weeks off just to find my bearings, but, wanted to decompress, focus on the art a little, and figure out a new game plan, especially when it comes to art. So on that note, y'all, that's a Monday night, a rainy Monday night, perfect night to create some art. I want to thank all you guys for joining in, becoming part of the show. I'm going to start to turn down the lights here now and see all you guys, on the next one. But before we do that, let's bring up Scott to say goodbye one last time, and we'll bring up Eddie as well. Let's see, where are you? Oh shit! Of all music to come back to me, who would have ever thought that I listened to Iron Maiden? Huh? Let's see, Iron Maiden. So funny. I don't think I have listened to this. Aces High. Yeah, there it is. Okay. We do. All right. Let me bring this up and get this ready here, so we have everything ready. Okay. Before we say goodnight, I'm gonna just give some quick shout outs to everybody out here. Hang on one second. All right, guys. On let's see. Let me make sure I get everybody. Okay, over on Facebook, Big Money, Alan, Big Missouri, good to see you guys. Thank you for dropping in and tuning in. Over on X, Josh, Danny, been getting it. Good to see you guys. Danny, we got to get you. You're the last piece of the puzzle. Good to see you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Let's run over to IG, Art in Office, SJP Studio, Patty Lopez, Steve, NFC Creeps. Good to see you guys. Thank you for joining in. Nunchuck, NFT 3D. Thank you for joining in. Mr. Lewis and Vans. What's up, Vans? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. I think that might probably cover it. Let me just check YouTube and Twitch. We don't really get much activity on there, but I will say goodnight to Twitch and YouTube. Yeah, quiet. Oh, what's up, Frisky? Frisky says hello from YouTube. Thank you for checking in. All right, guys. Very good. Okay. That's everybody. I'm going to, let's see, switch this back. Let's see. That's me. All right. And then we got this. There we go. Okay. Scott, you are on one last time. You want to say goodnight to everybody before we hit a little Aces High here?
Yeah. Hope everyone has a good night. Thank you for hanging out for a couple hours. This is awesome, and thanks again, Marc, for having me, and really appreciate it.
Anytime, man. Appreciate your time and appreciate you coming on, making a successful show. Thank you very much. I'm gonna hit this track, and I'm gonna display your art, and we're gonna cut out. But I appreciate you. Thank you for everything, Scott.
Thank you.
All right.
book.
And that was a damn good show. See everybody on the next one.